Party time, Mom. Welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show, special Friday edition. We're going to talk about some headlines. We don't want to get too far into the weekend and out into the next week and the headlines to be old because things are just moving so fast in this crazy world we live in. I want to talk about a couple of things. And I want to remind you of a couple of things or tell you something if you didn't know it already. And that is, I want you to remember when you go to watch Chad Prather, my page on Facebook, there's 4. Don't forget, Political Cowboy. There's my personal Chad Prather. There's the Chad Prather page. And then there is Watch Chad Prather, which is where most videos get posted. A lot of news articles get posted from Blaze.com as well as on Political Cowboy. And I have people who come to me and say, well, who cares? Why would you post this? Can't believe you're posting this. You're stirring the pot. Watch Chad Prather is affiliated with Blaze Media. You're going to get Blaze Media articles on there mixed with my videos. It's just going to happen. That's the nature of the way we do business together. So if it gets posted, you feel free to scroll on past if it's not an article you want to read. I don't need a message about it. You don't have to send me a message. You don't have to do that, okay? We put opinion pieces out there. We put news articles out there. We put things that are going on in the crazy wild world we live in here in the 21st century of 2020 America and the world at large that some people are interested in. Just because you're not, you don't have to tell us. It doesn't matter.
It's interesting you said that because last night you asked me during the Georgia game, what are you doing? And I was reading comments and stuff on one of the Facebook pages that I used to respect. And the person that runs the page was breaking all her own rules that she had for the page. But one of her own rules was, it's my page. I can do what I want. If you don't like it, scroll past. So I didn't comment, but I did unlike her page.
Well, I always have people, and the Georgia game was 2 nights ago, but I always have people who, I just want to, because again, that's something that somebody's going to say, well, it was a Georgia game last night. Chill,
I apologize.
People.
It was 2 nights ago.
Chill,
I forgot.
People. Anyway, we talk for a living. Sometimes we say things wrong. Anyway, you're right, and it is. And I have people who will come on in defense of me and say, well, if you don't like his page, just unfollow. Well, I don't encourage you to do that. I don't want you to unfollow. I want everybody there. I want everybody to follow. I don't care if you agree, disagree. It's there for debate and discussion. People say, well, you're stirring the pot. No, our country was founded on the ability to stir the pot. Thank God for founding fathers who stirred the pot.
They did.
And it cost people their lives. You know, George Washington said, tax this.
See, I don't think he said it like that per se, but he might have said something along those terms.
He said it. And the first boogaloo started. Anyway, I am not stirring the pot. I'm causing discussion, dialogue. I want people to talk about things. And it's perfectly okay when you go online to disagree with somebody without cussing them out or calling them names or telling them they're ignorant, even if they are. If they say you're instead of you are and it's not abbreviated properly, you don't have to correct their grammar. You don't have to do that. The word profit is spelled P-R-O-P-H-E-T if you're talking about the person. It's P-R-O-F-I-T if you're talking about accumulation of money gained. So there's little things out there. I get it. There was someone who said real brilliance here, and they spell brilliance B-R-I-L-L-Y-E-N-T-S. Brilliance. Puppet Master. Can you believe? I mean, this stuff. Like if I wanted to call people out online.
All day long.
Well, I realized I spelled the wrong here, but I think I spelled the right here, but the wrong here auto-populated, and I hit post.
Yeah, well, that happens.
But nobody says anything, but I did see it myself, and I was like, oh, good God, and I had to edit.
Well, it happens. I mean, sometimes I'll get to typing really fast, and I'll leave a word out or whatever. But you don't have to go crazy.
It's different.
Yeah, that's different. But don't. That was one that stood out. But you don't have to go crazy online with people. We're not stirring the pot. We don't want to create discord. We just want people to be able to discuss.
Right.
We have our opinions. We have our convictions. There are those who come on and call me a sellout. I can't believe you're such a sellout. You deal with politics. Now, I used to like you. I've always dealt with politics for years now. We've always done politics. And the fact that you say you used to like me, well, unless that was 10 years ago, when we didn't have a public forum. As long as we've been here, if you've been following, you know we do politics. And we talk about, and we really don't do politics. We do more of how it affects culture than anything else. Like, I'm not sitting here talking about, what House resolution is being passed today and who voted this way and that way. We're not talking about who voted yay, nay, or present.
That'll get you unliked real quick.
Yeah, pull the microphone a little bit closer to you. You keep having to bend down to it.
Well, I don't want to get yelled at.
You just pull it up. Just lift it up.
Well, mine
Down
doesn't
here,
work
grab
the
it
same
like
as
this.
yours.
Grab it like this. Reach out, grab it. There you go. And just
It doesn't work the same as yours.
You got to reach out and grab it out there. Anyway, she's an argumentative woman. I don't know what to do. You should be married to this. She's gonna argue.
Y'all would be so blessed.
Oh, yeah, gonna argue. Anyway, so we sow discord amongst ourselves, as you see and listen right here. Here we are. We have a good time with that, and I just like to get people talking about things. I like to get people talking about things.
You're going to get messages about what you just said.
I don't care. But they're not necessary. They're not necessary.
No.
Oh, and don't send me videos either. Like, if you're going to put me in a mass tweet where you're going to send me messages and it's got something that I spend 6 hours a day on the internet, so I pretty much see it. It's out there. I see it. If someone out there has tweeted it, I've probably seen it. If it's a funny video, I've probably seen it. Now, those of you out there who know who you are and you're my people and we're like this, like you could also text me, you can send me stuff. But if you're random out there, and God bless you, I'm not saying you're not important, but if you just send me something and there's a video play button, I just don't have time to do that because I get them all day.
Yeah.
So I'm done bitching.
You sound like the Facebook page I was talking about.
Yeah. So, whatever. I just say whatever I want to say, but I'm just trying to save some time here in 2020.
Well,
and
but
I'm trying to save everybody time.
She was right. She said, you know what? This is my page. You don't like it, unlike it. But unlike you want people to stay with you.
I've never told anybody to unfollow.
And I have more followers than she does.
There's probably been some people who are, ragtag pains in the ass who just are there to stir things up. Like I got people on different social media platforms, and after a while you just have to block them because it becomes obnoxious. And then they go out and create another account and come back on, and they're doing the same thing. Well, why'd you block the other one? I can just create accounts all day long. Well, then I just mute them, and they think they're talking, and nobody else can. They don't realize nobody sees what they're posting.
Right.
So they're just muted. And social media is an interesting thing. You got to handle it. Don't feed the trolls. No. They keep coming back. They're like a feral hog.
Yep.
They're just like a stray cat. They just keep coming back because they need that attention. It's a Machiavellian thing. It really is. It's a very narcissistic Machiavellian. It's crazy. But here we are. And it's 2020. We're going to talk about the crazy things. There is... I'm a fan of the Marvel comics, right? I'm not a fan of Hollywood by and large. And I get really tired of this whole let's attempt to appease everybody. Like there was a headline the other day that said, transgender man gives birth with his wife through the help of from a donation from a transgender woman. And that's just a politically correct word salad right there. Let me interpret it for you. What that headline says is a lesbian couple had a baby with a sperm donor.
Right.
Okay. So when you see a transgender man, that's a woman. And you say a transgender woman, that's a man who donated sperm and blah, 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 blah. Your physicality is not a mental thing. It's a physical thing. It's not a mental determination. Your gender is a physical determination. And people are having a hard time trying to figure out how to read through all this stuff. It's gotten to the point of nonsensical. But the problem is you have Hollywood and so much of the mainstream media that are giving credence to this. And biology is not bigotry. So if I call out your biology, that's not me being a bigot. That's just me being biologically factual. I don't care what you do in your personal life, but don't demand that I use a certain language that doesn't make sense in order to make you happy and to feel accepted. Look, just feel accepted, okay? I don't care who you are or how you are, but if I can say, sorry I hit you in the balls, ma'am, you're a dude, all right? And I'm not, that's not a hate crime for me to say, a joke like that. You're biologically a male. So enter Marvel, you've had the Iron Man, you've had Captain America, the Hulk, you've had Spider-Man, this whole Marvel universe with the Avengers and everything. So they asked him, he was speaking at the president of Marvel Studios was asked at New York Film Academy this past weekend, are there any plans to add more LGBTQ characters, specifically transgender ones, to its roster? He said, yes, absolutely yes, and very soon, in a movie that we're shooting right now. Didn't name the character or say when the movie was going to be released, but there's an upcoming Marvel film, The Eternals, which will feature the series' first openly gay superhero. We care not. We really care not. I'm just informing you of this. Said inclusivity is important to the movie giant. You look at the success of Captain Marvel and Black Panther. We want the movies to reflect the audience, and we want every member of our global audience to see themselves reflected on the screen. Yeah. That's the issue that I have the thing with, right? Like, it didn't bother me that there was two females kissing at the end of the Star Wars thing. It was just kind of a blurb right past it. Whoopie-doo. I've seen worse in the holiday commercials through Christmas. It's just gotten ridiculous. But to say, well, we want to reflect every part of society. No, you don't.
Oh, there's some bad parts. That's not bad. The lesbian, gay, that's not bad.
Well, I mean, it's bad if you don't want your children to see that.
Well,
I mean, I don't need my 8-year-old who's wanting to go see a Marvel superhero, and I don't have an 8-year-old, but I'm just using hypothetically. I don't want my child going out there and having questions about human sexuality at that age that's being foisted upon them by Hollywood. I don't want that. I don't need their mores, their morals, and their sense of norms to be foisted on my kid, and now I've got to have an awkward conversation about this thing when my kid is not ready. Hollywood doesn't know when my kid's ready to discuss sex. Why does it have to be thrust on them?
Hollywood doesn't care.
No, they don't. But what they do care about, and is this what he said, this representation of all parts of society, that's nonsense. You don't care about all parts of society. You don't care. Are you going to have an outwardly faith-based Christian superhero? Are you going to have someone who is a heterosexual male who, is that's not going to be your focus, who is a family man who prays with his family, whose life is guided by the Bible, or is obviously an outwardly faith-based superhero. Of course you're not going to do that. You're just not, like, even me saying that sounds ludicrous in people's ears right now, because they're like, hell, why in the world would you do something like that? Why would you do something like that? Well, why do you need to put a transgender person on there? Because you're not interested in reflecting every part of society. I mean, make a movie about, superheroes that were homeschooled effectively and successfully. Do that. I mean, how about that? Because you don't care about that. You're like, well, that's just some fringe group of society. Oh, and transgenderism isn't? It's nonsense. So that's where I have a problem. You're catering to 0.02% of the population that's out there. It is a mathematical non-entity, and you're foisting it on the world and saying this is normal. You're normalizing something that is absolutely and abjectly not normal in culture, and you're saying, oh yeah, well, we want to reflect all forms of society. That's what I have the problem with. That hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Because you're not interested in that. You don't want to tell my story. You don't want to tell my viewpoint. You don't want to talk about my kids' lives, something they can relate to. Because we being, majority as white people, we're not minorities. We're heterosexual people, faith-based people who have a faith system in what we believe in. How they don't want to reflect the majority of society.
Well, I think they would rather categorize it as not good.
Well, again, what I've told you over and over again, and by the way, those of you out there who want to tell me that I'm a racist and to shut up and all that, you shut up. Look, I don't care if you're a stranger and you call me a racist, that doesn't mean anything. When my good friends start telling me I'm a racist, then that's a problem, okay? We'll talk about that. But you don't know me. You don't know the diversity of my life, and you don't know, and I don't have to explain it to you. I don't care. But this whole thing, and I did a video on it, and I want you to go to YouTube and watch it when you're done watching this podcast. Or if you're listening to it, go over to my YouTube, subscribe at the Chad Prather channel, and watch it, the one I did about white people and cultural appropriation. No such thing as cultural appropriation. That's a non-entity, right? To say, okay, well, you wore a headdress or something like that on Halloween and you appropriated Native American culture, come on, give me a break. Everybody appropriates everything else. You see something, you like it, you want to do it, you want to imitate it, you want to emulate it. That is a form of flattery. You're not mocking it, you're not making fun of it. You're in a way celebrating the differences of culture, right? And that's okay, because if you look at a piece of art, if you just had one big black canvas, that's not art. And if you think that is, that's like paying $120,000 for a banana that's duct taped to the wall and calling it art. That's BS. That's not art. Colors is what make art. If you look at a photograph, if you have one that's underexposed or overexposed, it's either too whited out or it's too blacked out, that's not a good photograph. You throw that away. You want all of your colors to be vivid. And that's the beauty of our culture, is when we have these cultures that can come together and we can enjoy one another's, the good parts of our culture, and enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. So this whole stuff, it's just gotten ridiculous. And it's just kind of been on my heart to put that out there, because it's tearing us apart. The moral fabric, the cultural fibers of America are being torn apart. Because let me tell you something, white people don't hate black people. Men don't hate women. Conservatives don't hate gays. No. There's all these things out there that get accused. You came in. I was at my favorite little place in downtown Fort Worth, Silverleaf Cigar Bar.
Oh yeah.
And hanging out. I know everybody that works in there. I went in there. You were doing a little shopping downtown. I went in, grabbed a cigar, and I was sitting down at a table. It was pretty full in there, and the waitress, a young black girl who's just a sweetheart in there, she was looking for a place to seat these two gentlemen that came in together. One was Hispanic, the other was black. They were obviously friends. They couldn't find a table. I waved them over. I said, come on here. I said, we're not going to be here that much longer, but come sit with me. They came over, Andrell and AJ.
Yeah.
Ardell, I'm sorry. Ardell and AJ. And we hung out for about half an hour. You came in and sat down. And we just visited, hung out, and we just had a blast. Just getting to know total strangers. People, it didn't cross our minds that they were different colors than us, different skin tones or anything else, because that's not the world we live in. It's not the world any of you live in. People want to create that world so that they can have some form of cultural power over you, to tell you that you're evil because of the color of your skin, and you're not. You're not. And that's why it frustrates the hell out of me, these folks who are running for office these days, who have run on the platforms of division. I don't care if you're right or left. If you're running on a platform of division by telling you what you don't have that somebody else has that they will give you if you can just put them in power, it pisses me off.
And it should make them mad too.
It really should, because they're using you.
Yeah.
They're using you. To sit out there, we were listening to our buddy Andrew Wilkow on the radio, and Wilkow was talking about, these folks out there that, like we talk about this raid on the Benghazi, or not the Benghazi, the Baghdad, the Iraqi embassy, the American embassy, and the raid on it. And of course, the papers came out. New York Times was talking about these were mourners who were out there because of a aerial bombing that happened, killed 25 fighters, and they were in mourning, and that's what was going on. Stop redefining this thing based on culture and beliefs and religious systems and stuff because you're afraid of offending somebody. No, they were protesters and they got violent, and Trump sent in 100 Marines on 2 helicopters and took care of that, ended it. This ain't Benghazi, right?
Well, that's also not how you mourn.
Right. And so Wilkow was basically talking about, he had the guy who was on, I'm not even going to say his name, who was saying, well, we have got to start looking at Trump supporters differently because they're not all crazy. They're not all these folks sitting in diners. And we got to start being morally journalistic in our viewpoints of these. And by putting them out there and saying, hey, these folks aren't all bad, and showing that, hey, these folks have their different reasons they voted for Trump, and just kind of saying, well, they're not all crazy.
He said, and we need to find out why would they
support Trump? I mean, what is it about Trump that you're supporting? We need to find that out. In other words, they want to put you in a petri dish and put you under a microscope and start analyzing what it is that's wrong with you,
that you would feel this way.
So maybe it's not that you're these things we've been calling you, but there's got to be something wrong with you. So let's figure all that out, right? Mm-hmm. Well, kiss my ass. I don't need your analyzation of my life to tell me what it is that's wrong with me so that now you can validate how you feel about the rest of the world that's not like you.
Well, it's all likewise, too, because, I mean, we could turn around and say the same thing.
Yeah, I could, and that's the point I'm getting to. I could turn around and say, well, what's wrong with folks out there who want to vote for somebody who's just going to keep giving you something at the cost of somebody else? Because let me tell you something, and I put it on Twitter yesterday, and I said, look, you can't name 5 things the Democratic Party has done to better the prosperity of your personal, hardworking, day-to-day life as an American. You can't point to anything. And our buddy, a writer with Blaze, Chris Pandolfo, he put on there, he said, well, they do keep giving us crazy stuff to talk about, and that gets us paid. And that's right. In that regard,
is right. But
to
think that you would receive anything that's actually free is very factually wrong.
Right.
Nothing is actually free, ever. It can't be.
This world that we are creating right now, this world of cultural acceptance, where we take the fringe and the ludicrous and the most outlandish ideas that are out there and we try to normalize them, is handing a world to our children and our grandchildren that I promise you will not like what that looks like for them. And so stop talking about we're saving the earth for our kids and we're trying to, make sure that Donald Trump gets out because our kids are going to inherit this nightmare. No. Doesn't matter if it's Donald Trump. Doesn't matter if it's Jesus Christ. I'm telling you, you got a complex, have the ability to critically think about these things that are being put out there and foisted on us and listen to what's truly being said, because we're creating a world that is going to be absolutely just destructive for what we've known as this country called America, which has been the greatest experiment of government in human history. So I'm just telling you that's, and I got all that from a Marvel movie. I've got all that from a Marvel movie, because don't tell me you're trying to reflect cultures. No, you got these guys who are running for president on the they're so anti-American it makes me sick. You got all these people running for president on the left. There are people, who was it? Joy Reid. Joy Reid comes out and says, this is Trump's Benghazi, talking about that Baghdad thing. What an un-American thing to say. We know people personally, friends that survived Benghazi, who were there, who watched their comrades in arms die in those attacks. They were there. And to sit there, and this was a tragic thing. Well, first of all, it's stupid to say that, because you're now admitting that Benghazi was an F-up.
That's right.
It was a screw-up on the part of the Obama administration and Hillary Clinton's watch when she was Secretary of State. So to say that is an admission of guilt there, but then to even compare it, like, you're wanting this thing to go down tragically, you want Americans in the embassy to get killed or hurt just so it'll look bad on Trump. That's stupid. It's traitorous, it's cancerous, it's lecherous, it's seditious, and it's every bad thing I can say about anyone who has a public platform. To want this country to fail, to want Americans to be harmed, just because you don't like a president, is absolutely dumb. It's asinine. You people, something's in the water, Mark. Something's in the water. But they're dropping out. They can't, I heard Julian Castro, who can't even speak a lick of Spanish, by the way. Julian Castro, former Housing and Urban Development Secretary under Obama. Of course, he's a Democrat from Texas, from San Antonio. He dropped out. Can't do it. He said, and I quote, "With a month until the Iowa caucuses and given the circumstances of this campaign season, I've determined that it simply isn't our time." Boy, you've been polling at 1% and less than. No, it was never your time.
No.
Ever.
I don't think it's going to be in the future either.
No. He said, "Today it is with heavy heart and with profound gratitude that I will suspend my campaign for president." Doesn't say he's quitting.
Right.
Suspending it.
He's going to take a break.
Yeah, and he says, I'm not done fighting. I'll keep working towards a nation where everyone counts. Everyone counts. We all know everyone counts.
Yeah, we're not against that. We're for that.
Yeah, we believe in that. We believe in lives that matter. I don't care if they're black, brown, white, yellow, red and yellow, black and white.
With freckles.
You got those, baby.
I know. That's why I wanted to make sure that everyone knew freckles count.
But that's the deal. I mean, everybody's got to count. And so these guys, they're trying to make everybody in America a victim.
I know.
You were born with the winning golden ticket. You got to go to the chocolate factory, man. If you were born in America, you were born with the golden ticket. You really were.
I've said it before. If I'm going to be poor, please let it be in America.
No kidding. Nobody starves to death in America. Children don't starve to death in America. People that are impoverished are dealing with diabetes because they're overweight. Obesity is epidemic in the homeless. There's these issues. Health issues are there because we throw away more food than many, many countries in the world will ever produce.
We have visited countries where there's a child by themselves on the side of the road holding on to a donkey.
Yeah.
I've never seen that in the U.S. ever, anywhere. I don't see a whole lot of children hanging out under the bridges in Fort Worth. In fact, I don't think I ever have. I'm not saying that hasn't occurred, but it's not a daily thing that I've noticed.
By God, you'd notice it if you saw it.
I would
If you were in
notice.
Dallas, Texas, and you saw a 4-year-old that was malnourished with their belly sticking out, wearing nothing more than a cloth diaper, and they're just walking around in basically a loincloth that's pinned up and tied around their waist, you'd notice that.
Yeah.
You'd notice that.
Well, I noticed
and we've been
around
in
the
countries,
world. I've noticed it.
We've been in
it's,
countries where we've seen
it's
that.
so heartbreaking. And in those countries, there are no programs to help them. People are walking right past these children.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
So, I mean, that's, and all I'm telling you is I promote compassion, even with the people I disagree with. That's why I tell people, I'm not telling you to unfollow my social media pages because
Right.
you disagree with me. I got people who send me messages. You've heard me talk about it. I wish cancer on your entire family.
Yeah.
Wish you'd die. You're trash. You're garbage. You're racist. You're full of hate. I'm not full of hate. I'm very outspoken. I'm very black and white in the things that I believe. But I'm also very teachable.
Yeah.
I'm very teachable. Somebody comes along and says, hey, I don't, this is a better way. I want to have a bigger heart and a bigger mind and more wisdom to say, okay, I'm here. I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'm listening. I've changed my opinion on many, many things over my 47 years. Many things. I mean, when I was young and in college and coming out of college and you knew it all, everything was black and white then. And by God, you had that laser vision focus. And, I'd argue with everybody from my mother to anybody that would stand still or walk slow. And I had to get my point across because I had my convictions about this. And then you realize maybe there's a better way. Maybe there's some grace in there. Maybe there's some gray areas that you can function in. Everything doesn't have to be go to hell, kiss my up ears, and FUs. It doesn't have to be that way.
I think, and sometimes just let those people go. I wanted to say all kinds of things on that website a couple of nights ago, or not the website, but the Facebook page. And I was like, for what? I don't even know these people.
Yeah.
I'm not going to waste my time on these because and I don't wish anything bad on them. If anything as bad is going to happen to them, it's because of the way they are.
Yeah.
So if I heard something, I wouldn't be surprised, but I would never wish that on them. But I was just appalled at the things they were saying.
If natural selection took place, I mean, we wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. But I did think, okay, this is actually starting to upset me. And this is crazy.
Yeah.
So I think I will just go and unlike this. And it was at that point where I realized when I hit unlike and I saw that it went down by one person, I was like, what? I have more followers than this. This is ridiculous.
And I was telling the story the other night at the house when we had some guests over, and we were out at the shooting range. We were at the clay range with the guys, and we took the boys out there. And I was having a conversation with my buddy Ed, and I made a comment. I said, well, somebody said to me online the other day, and then it hit me when it came out of my mouth how ludicrous that was, that a stranger said something to me on the internet. And I was like, now I'm quoting this person. And I do it all the time. This person sent me a message, that person said. And it's amazing to me. I've said over and over again, you've heard me in the live shows, that the internet's ruined our lives. We can't even sit on the toilet without being on the internet. We got our phones in there with us. We don't sit and read the shampoo bottles or study the wallpaper patterns anymore. We don't whistle, Mayberry. We got to be on the internet. We can't take a dump without being on the internet. We're constantly, and it becomes an addiction. It's a psychological profile now, this internet addiction thing. I have to deal with, because it's a business for me, so I have to constantly be referring back to it. And it's a nightmare in that regard. And it controls so much of us. Mm-hmm. And yes, people say stupid things. Yes, we all do.
Yep.
That doesn't mean, that you got to go off on somebody. Just have at it.
But that's why it's important for us to teach our young, whatever you do online, whatever you say, whatever pictures you post, it's always there.
It's forever.
As many times as you delete it, it's always there.
It's forever. I have to think about that all the time. I mean, I had a guy who was coming at me the other day.
Does it ever make you not post something?
There's been some things.
Okay.
There's been some things. Now, I post a lot of things that you say you would never post or you don't even want me to post, but I put a lot of things out there. Just because I know me and I hear it in my voice and I hear it in my head, and sometimes I know that that's not how it's read.
No.
You know, I don't mean ill towards anybody. Everything I say is tongue-in-cheek for the most part until, when I get a little pissed off.
Yes.
Like, when I'm just kind of in a rant mood because I'm just tired of it.
Right.
But, what was it? Somebody the other day, oh, God, I forgot now. Y'all lost my train of thought about that. But
Sorry.
yeah, I mean, I put stuff out there. And I know what it was. Somebody who was coming at me with something, trying to make their arguments, because you have those people, especially on Twitter, you have those people who, by God, they're going to disagree. They are going to disagree. I mean, if I say that the sky, it's a beautiful day outside, sky is blue and just gorgeous, sunny and 72, they're going to come in there and they're going to blast me about, well, you didn't think that about climate change and blah. And I'm like, oh, my God. And this guy went out and dug up some screenshot that he'd made from a 2017 tweet. And I was like, well, I don't disagree with that now. I mean,
It was your tweet that he dug up? Oh.
It was from 2017. You go back 3 years to dig up a tweet, man. That's a mess. It's crazy. I mean, you could get a hobby, dude.
Was he the one that wanted you to have cancer?
No.
Oh.
I mean, I don't. He probably does. I don't know. I don't know. That's why I have my favorites on Twitter, though. Kevin Wade. I love Kevin. He's always coming at people, and he's got your back. And there's various ones that are on there.
Kevin don't play.
I love Twitter, man. I love it. It is a barnstorm.
I do not know how to use Twitter.
It's a mess, dude. It's a mess.
I am too much of a smart aleck, I think, to use Twitter. Because you used to tell me all the time, Jade, they don't know you're kidding.
Yeah.
Or they can't read that. They don't know what you mean.
Perfect example. I have people all the time who say, we want you to go back to doing Chad sings songs horribly while Jade does whatever it was you were doing. And people never saw you. They just heard you while I would sing the song horribly with the guitar sitting in the bedroom. And one of the reasons I stopped doing that is because of the negative things that come, because you and I would go back and forth at each other on the comments afterwards, and people would get pissed off because they didn't realize that how you and I converse with one another, it many times kind of sounds argumentative, but we're just playing with each other.
Right.
We're giving each other a hard time.
Yeah.
And people think that we're really going at each other. But no, that's just the nature of our friendship first.
Right.
Because we can take it.
That's one of the things I loved about you when I first met you. I was like, okay, you can handle it. You're almost as quick as I am. Why are you laughing?
This bitch.
I needed somebody as smart as me, or almost as smart as me, and you just about fit that, babe.
Just about.
You do pretty good.
I'm all right. But when I come up with these ideas that I think are funny, like, for instance, I came up with a new character while I was in West Palm Beach with the president. These are the things that I'm thinking about while the president is on the stage, while he's talking. I have a new character coming out, already have the costume. It's a superhero named Toxic Shock. I already have the costume. It's fantastic. It's a superhero named Toxic Shock. All superheroes have a tragic backstory. Let's do this one, Marvel. Marvel, I'm ready for, if you want to do a real tragic hero story, forget this transgender nonsense. Let's do a Toxic Shock movie. So Toxic Shock, a playground, some bullies, a tampon, a rectum. And one day, Toxic Shock was born. Now, Toxic Shock is offensive to the social justice leftist world. He is everything that a real woman wants in a man. He is crude. He is crass. He is strong. He's a little bit thick in the head. But by God, he's 100% man. He lives by day in the dark shadows of the social justice world in his mild-mannered disguise as a beta male. Little does the leftist world know that walking among them just under the surface is Toxic Shock. Toxic Shock is coming. Toxic Shock. We're gonna have the sky, the light in the sky right there, the shocker. Oh, it's gonna be fantastic. It's going to be amazing. Yes, Toxic Shock. He's everything that the left finds offensive about men today. He farts, he burps, he scratches. That's right. Got a little pot belly when he drinks his beer. Heck yeah. But he's a strong man. He's Toxic Shock. See, I come up with those ideas, and you do exactly that response right there. You don't know what to do with yourself. You roll your eyes. Candace doesn't know. Y'all are like, oh, my God, we're going to get in trouble. But we don't. We don't. They're fantastic ideas. I love them. I love them. When I do these things, it's fun. It's funny. You see, that's the kind of stuff that I do that people get pissed off with, right? That's the stuff.
Well, that's why I have the face, because I know it's coming.
You know it's coming. But it's always fun. I mean, you thought Trigger DeBose was going to be trouble. You know, and what's funny is when I did the Reverend Swindle. Don't y'all miss the Reverend Swindle? Don't you miss the Reverend Swindle when Swindle would come out and do his Church of the Holy Anointing touchdown of the Apostles,
with the eagle?
Whatever. With the eagle. Ah, the dove. And people got so pissed because I never said anything specifically about the Bible or God or Jesus. It was alluding to the fact. And I was actually pointing out the problems with the, quote, charlatans that are out there. So really it was a very pro-Christian message that people didn't know how to take with Swindle, right? The same with Trigger DeBose. People say, well, you can't do Trigger DeBose. Trigger DeBose, man, that's just like my uncles and my cousins and all those people that live down there. Well, Trigger is an exact example of the people I grew up with. You know, and it's being able to take that honest, good old boy look at the world, and people get offended by that. So, yeah, I'm a little bit bothered when Marvel comes out and says, well, we're going to reflect all parts of society. No, you're not.
No, you're
not. So don't get pissed off when you're reflecting the parts of your society. We like to reflect the parts of our society. It's fair play, folks. If you can do it, Hollywood can do it. If the left can do it, then we on the right can do it too. That's the beauty of free speech. It's the beauty of comedy. It's the beauty of just coming out and having a good time. And it's the beauty of podcasting. And we can say whatever we want to say.
Yeah.
And if you don't like these opinions, because that's what they are, they're opinions, then you can drop out, just like Julian Castro did. Because you're probably polling at 1% too. What?
Don't unfollow.
Don't unfollow. I mean, we don't want you to unfollow.
Don't unsubscribe.
Subscribe. Yeah. And don't listen to the people who get pissed off and tell you to unfollow me. You can unfollow them.
Yeah.
Right? Don't unfollow me. I want you around. I love you. I love all of you. I love all your shitty opinions. All of them. I don't care how bad they are. I don't care how bad your grammar is. Come on, spill it. Comment. I want you, even if you disagree with it. I love the people who say, well, Chad, I never agree with you, but I don't expect you to agree with me. Well, I agree with 90% of what you say. Mm-hmm. I don't care.
But isn't that the truth?
I don't agree with you on everything, babe, and I live with you.
That's the truth of most relationships. You're never going to 100% agree.
No.
That would be boring.
No, that's the beauty of our relationship. I get to correct you. And you...
We both know that ain't true.
There it is, folks. Culture as it comes. I mean, you know what? Where would we be without a little cultural appropriation? Right, Blood? Good. Had a woman the other day said, if I saw you in public wearing an Indian headdress, I'd snatch your scalp off. I was like, that's very Indian of you to say. That is very Indian of you to say.
She's straight up Comanche.
She just said she's going to scalp me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, whoa. That's culturally appropriating. That's culturally appropriating. I hope everybody has a good Friday. We went way longer than we wanted to go. But hey, you never know. Maybe we'll make this a regular thing. You've asked for 5 days a week. Maybe we'll start giving you Fridays. We love y'all.
We love y'all.
Jade, thanks for hanging out. Candice, the queen of the Ethiopians who just snuck in here. Hi, give us a wave. The Puppet Master Mark. We'll be back with you on Monday. Breaking it down. Come back and see us. We love y'all. God bless. Bye.